Alright, a bunch of Tekken 8 info has just dropped. Tons of gameplay footage seen. And now we're looking at my boy Yoshimitsu. I was expecting to do a reaction breakdown of a trailer, but now we got a whole moves list to look at. So what I'm going to do is just kind of go through the whole thing, break it down, and kind of see what are the big changes and what they mean for Yoshimitsu. I've gone through this a few times throughout the day, and I guess my first impression is, in short, that Yoshimitsu is kind of a bit more smoothed out in terms of his gameplay, and he's not going to be as much of a noob stopper. But let's get into the actual video. Everyone's using this video. It's this Polish video where he kind of goes through the entire the entire command list. So they already have a few changes listed here, but I'm gonna just go through them and kind of just give my thoughts, or what basically my thoughts on these. So yeah, we'll go through them as we go along. So nothing scripted here. Just kind of pause and slow down where I need to. So we got some heat moves. Just go back a second. Alright, so that move is now a heat engager. We got the heat smash. Just all these moves are moves that. Alright, this thing is not working. There we go. So powerful moves that that decrease your health, your heat meter. So all these cost heat to do. This is the heat engager, and just to go back a second there, this one's based off of standing 3 is a pretty new extension for Yoshimitsu. New animation. Looks like it's a 15 frame startup. I don't think it was that way in Tekken 7. So Yoshi players are gonna need to kind of get used to using 3 as basically a starting tool here. Endless Flame 3-1, and that goes a heat engager. So now forward 1+2, new move, also a heat engager. Alright, so back 2-2. No one gives knockdown, I guess, so it's just going to be a heat engager. Same thing with Kinsho forward 2. Alright, Dragonfly 4. Alright, there's the heat smash. And it's a Redart. His Redart looks so dope. Oh my goodness. It is absolutely perfect. I like his voice too. Alright, 1-1 is the same. 2-1, pretty same. That was pretty new. Let's go back. 2-2 gives it like a sort of knockdown. It's not really a knockdown, but just massive frame advantage. Plus 15. I think it gave like plus like 4 or something like that in Tekken 7. But just going back here, it's also a 11 frame move now. So in Tekken 7 it was a 10 frame punish, but now looks like this is going to be your 11 frame, 12 frame punish, or a move that you just stick out, I guess. But either way, it gives massive plus frames to kind of do whatever you want. And it looks like from the notes here that you have the ability to cancel into Kinsho, which is something you were able to do in Tekken 7 as well. Massive plus frames, and you can go into no sword stance from there. I'm not sure if that's optional or not. Same. And again, heat engager from 15 frame standing 3. All right, we got a string there. Screw kick. So these are the same. And so it looked like from the notes there that the reversal property was maintained for Kincho. Same thing with the dash. And it had I think it had a few frames of high crushing property, so I think that might be maintained. We'll see. That's huge. So flash no longer gives launch on hit. Instead, it gives a plus 14 frame advantage, and I believe I guess is that a crouching recovery? Let's go back again. Okay, so yeah, plus 14. So I'm not sure if that gives like a guaranteed down 4 to 1-4 or something, depending on the recovery. But yeah, massive nerf for flash. All right, so this is a new move, 4-2-1. So I think 4-2-1, the backhand is no longer a what they call it, a tailspin move in Tekken 7. So now to be like a tornado move in Tekken 8, which you can tell by the icon in the right hand side of the top here in the command list, that these moves now have a 1 extension to make the tornado effect. Okay, these all look the same. Alright, so that looks like that's an armor move now. It's fine with me. I like that as an armor move. Alright, so that's the new forward 1+2. Alright, so again, everything from the backhand. The backhand used to be the tailspin. Now we have this this one after the backhand to be the tornado. All right, so if you saw my previous video, you know how disappointed I am to see that again. I wish they got rid of that animation, but whatever. Looks like it's still a 13 frame finish. All right, that's all there. That's the same. All right, so Gohosen. So this one is a crouch dash 1. It looks like they give the ability to do a simplified version of it. 20 frame startup. I think it's oh yeah, so I'm not sure if you could do it faster by doing the cross dash motion. Maybe you could get a frame or two by doing it that way, which would be fine with me. Or you could do the simple way with 1+4, down forward 1+4. And it looks like from the notes that you can also transition into Kincho as well. Same thing with crouch dash 2. Looks like. That's the same. Didn't even show the hit. What a bait. Alright, down to 2 series. Alright, that looks like the tornado extension. So if you do that in a combo, you now have an extension for the combo. And that's for the spike. Alright, these all look the same to me. That's like a change input. I think this was down forward 1+2. Now it's back 1, 2. Alright, these are all looking the same. Same thing. Right now that's a heat engager, so no longer knocks down, looks like. Spinning evade. I'm not sure if that does more or less damage or self damage. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. So new animation for putting away the sword in no sword stance. Awesome. So huge slash. 24 frames, so super, I guess a slow This does, I think this does a wall break if I'm looking at that icon correctly. I don't know what any of that stuff means in Polish over there, but it looks like it might do a wall break. All right, this is the same. All right, all the same in Tekken 7. You can also do the cancel. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff is maintained. All right, that's actually a buff, because I think before you just get knocked down, so now you actually get a tornado combo from it. Instant tornado, bam! Now you can do stuff from there. So that's a buff. Deathcopter. Now, when you cancel it, this is a pseudo, I guess a slight nerf. When you cancel Deathcopter, which I think is a new input too. I think that was up forward 1+2. Now it's 1+3. That used to be unblockable, I think, the whole time. So now, I believe. Let's see. That's unblockable. Is this unblockable too? No. So if you cancel it, it's no longer an unblockable. So instead of just doing less damage, it's just not unblockable at all. So definitely affects some of the Oki setups. I'm not sure if it has, like, I think 3 stages of waiting. So I'm not sure, since that was at the first stage, it becomes a mid, and at the second stage it becomes an unblockable. I'm not sure. That we'll have to see. Okay, so something happened with my mic before, so I'm gonna try to restart from here. Alright, so Shark Attack, that one got a little buff going into the tornado extension now, before it just hit on knockdown, or knockdown on hit. Okay, got the classic suicide. All right, that's a big change right there. Is Moonsault Slayer is now a mid instead of an unblockable. So this was a pretty staple Oki setup. A lot of his Oki setups used this. It was basically a free hit for anyone who didn't know how to deal with this move. And now that is kind of gone, and it is now a mid, no longer unblockable. It's a pretty big change there. New animation on the running 3. Looks like you can go into the helicopter stance from the description there in the notes. We got some classic combos, 10-hit combos. And they kept that animation. I forgot to. Alright, so this wasn't working. So that's about the same. I wanted to mention before that, just to reiterate that all that stuff from the I'll go forward a bit. Oh no, I went too far forward. Anyway, that it was basically just the tornado extension again. Down forward 1 extension following the backhand. Oh, that's another big change right there. I gotta get back to getting my controls right. I was all confuzzled from my tech issues earlier. So both these look to be intact. Let's go back. Okay, so that now gives instant screw. So before, obviously, that was a launcher. So right now it's going to instant tornado. I think I said screw, but tornado, same thing. So instead of a full launcher, you kind of get a half launcher. Okay, it's about the same. So these moves are pretty similar. Okay, so we have a transition to no sword stance from back turn. So I think that's new. At least I haven't really tried it. I really had no reason to do this in match. But not really a lot of back turn moves. I really wanted more back turn moves, and it doesn't seem to be the case. But oh well. And Kinsho. So these are the same. Similar. We got flash. 10 frame flash from Kinsho. Again, no launch, just massive plus frames, plus 14. That looks about the same. Alright, and that's a new move. I think that was taken from Soulcalibur. I've seen that from Soulcalibur also. Mid, I think it said 19 frames if it was very quick. But if I can kind of go back here, I think it was a 19 frame startup. Multiple hits. That's obviously not a 6 frame startup. Alright, I think it was 19 frames. So 19 frame startup mid from Kinsho. And it gives you is it your minus on hit? I don't know what all that stuff in the notes say, but I'm assuming that some other effects happen while you're in no sword stance, and also from heat. So this might be a life draining move in heat, and I think I'll have to go back and double check that. But that's the way I can really explain this negative frame advantage. I don't know any other reason why this would be used, unless it also gave like a counter hit launch or it was plus on block or something. But it seems to be that maybe this move is pretty much only useful in heat for the most part, or otherwise you just use the 1+2. Alright, so that like gives heat engage. That's the same launcher. That's the same, still unblockable, thank goodness. So now you get a green effect when while you're healing. So that's a nice little quality of life. Now the green effect with a little bit greater heal. Okay, these look the same. It's like all the fleet options and transitions are there. So a lot of his stuff, I mean, I know some people were talking about like maybe reworks and stuff. So he doesn't seem to be reworked. There's just a lot of little differences, I guess, just the kinds of differences you would see from game to game. But yeah, we don't see a full rework like we saw in, say, Tekken 6. Just to go back to that Indian stance thing again, that was an unblockable, I believe, still. Alright, so we got the Shark Attack kind of extension, which gives the instant tornado. That's new and very good. There wasn't too much you could do in terms of immediate moves from Indian stance. The low sweep was one of them, but now it looks like we have a mid option out of that, and a fairly quick one too. I don't know if I could kind of make it a little bit so we can kind of see what that was. How fast is that? That's 17 frames. So it looks like immediately 17 frames out of Indian stance, and then we got some mids. That seems pretty good. I think this is a pretty significant buff. I rarely use Indian stance myself. Alright, we got the no sword stance. Again, they changed the animation. It looks a lot nicer now, a little bit more dynamic. So that's a win. And it also looks like he crouches a bit. I wonder if he gets some high crushing or high evade when he's putting his sword away like this. So that might be a buff in itself. Yeah, again, pretty weird to have moves start with the three standing three, but looks like that does life steal. But I don't think we were in heat though, right? Were we in heat? Does life steal without? Does life steal without heat? Okay, so I wonder, because it's a move that's accessed from no sword stance, you're able to get those, I guess, alternate properties. So maybe in one sword stance you have these moves that give you life steal, but in no sword stance they give you. Let me back up. They maybe don't give life steal in one sword stance, but they give life steal in no sword stance. All right, so flash again. It looks like he gives some life steal. You see those little particle effects, so it looks like he got some life steal, and he kind of does a crumple, 64 frames. I think this is a launch. So launching flash in no sword stance, 8 frame startup. Okay, so that's about the same. Duck jab in no sword stance. He doesn't get duck jab in his conventional stance. That's when he has that downward slash that you can charge up. So that's the same. That's how you put it back out. So, all right. So it looks like his big cleaving attack. Again, I think this did a life steal. Let me double check if I saw those particle effects. Yeah. So it looks like some of those moves that does that life steal effect still happen in no sword stance. Very interesting. Okay. All right, so that's a tornado. So I think in Tekken 7 that was a full launch. Now we get a tornado effect. I think that was unblockable before. Maybe I think it was maybe a little bit slower. I don't know about the frames exactly, but I thought it was a little bit slower, but it was unblockable. So now we have a mid. I think that might be a relative nerf, not having that blockable there. This is a new extension, so right from his 2, he has an extra attack, 2-4, which gives the tornado effect. So this is effectively going to replace, whenever you do a combo into Dragonfly, replacing the 4 attack that does a spin kick in the aerial combo. You're now going to use this. You are now going to use this this 2-4 string. Got the lows there. All right, and the 4 is now a heat engager. All right, got the throw. That's there. All right, so that one is another new move. Again, from Soulcalibur. Awesome. Love to see the Soulcalibur stuff. I know there was a guy in my previous video that said, it'd be cool if he had some Soulcalibur moves. Well, here it is. It's pretty awesome. I'm very happy to see this. In terms of the properties, we got a triple high, 16 frame startup. I don't know how much that's going to be used in neutral. To be honest, just triple high is very risky. So, just to put out neutral. So I'm assuming this is might be something like a that you do against a wall in a combo. Actually, you can see the icon there. It does wall break. So I think you get a high wall spot on somebody. You do this move from Dragonfly and you get a nice wall break. I think that's what this move's going to end up being. All right, now we're into our throws. But all of his throws are the same. It's neither here or there. I definitely would have preferred like those clones to come back in some way, like he was in like Tekken 3. So his throws look pretty much untouched. This is actually well, touched. His rainbow drop is now up forward 1+2 instead of that half circle motion you had to do before. So that makes it a lot simpler. Did the damage get nerfed as a result of the simplified input? Let's see. I think it did 50 damage before. 45 damage? I don't know what that is. Okay, I think Obrażenia. I don't know Polish. I think that might be damage. So Rainbow Drop did 45 damage. That might be the same from Tekken 7. That might be the same. I'm not too sure. Alright, so that's a Kinjo parry. So that's sword stab. Alright, so we got some sample combos. But yeah, very cool stuff. I really like a lot of the new animations he got. He is very. I like the way the sword kind of glistens now. Like it doesn't look like a piece of plastic. It actually looks like it has it's like an actual object. Very flashy. Love the way he looks in motion. Yeah, I mean, let me just look at these here. Yeah, it just looks awesome. I'm sure there's going to be more optimized stuff and crazy stuff we'll see from actual people. But just seeing these kinds of moves look to come together is just really awesome to see. Especially that little, the swiping effect from the sword just looks a lot like faster. It's hard to describe, but it just looks a lot more dynamic than it was before. So, very cool to see. Also very cool to see the glowing sword back. It gives that red aura and heat, so that's what I was hoping for. That's what we got. Alright, so that's the end of this video. I'm gonna just go back here and go over the just the heat stuff again. But let's see here. Yeah, so that's the engager. So it's interesting how a lot of these moves, though, looks like they give some kind of life while draining, costing some of your heat bar again. Very interesting dynamic. So in I guess my previous video, I was wondering if he was gonna have like super great moves that maybe cost health, but it seems like they went the opposite way and gave decent moves that give health to you when you are successfully hit them with your opponent. So very cool effect. That I think that I'm really happy with that. I'm just gonna keep letting this play, but yeah, that's Yoshimitsu Tekken 8. So you can tell from the changes, and I'm just gonna give my impressions on how he's gonna play. I mean, obviously, these things can change, frames can change. We don't know how some of these moves are on counter hit or on block, so you know we can't really say. At least I can't say. He was going to be a particularly strong character in relation to the Tekken 8 cast, but there's nothing here that made me go like, wow, this guy's going to be busted. Like that I don't have that impression. My impression that he's kind of evened out. A lot of the moves that were more or less free to people that didn't know how to play against Yoshimitsu specifically, like the Moonsault Slayer and Flash and the sword sweep, those all got nerfed in this game. But in exchange for that, it looks like we have some other extensions. We have more transitions, and it looks like we have greater use of no sword stance, which I'm particularly happy about. I think it's good to have no sword stance a little bit more integrated into his moveset. But I really can't tell if he's going to be strong. He doesn't seem particularly like strong to me. But we'll see how that happens when the actual game comes out. So I don't think if there's anything else. If there's anything else I want to say about this, his design looks awesome. I saw another screenshot or some videos about his alternate costumes. They're so awesome. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy with the way he looks in that alternate costume. I may have to do a breakdown or something like that on that, but yeah, it just looks fantastic. Sounds great too. I love his voice effect. Doesn't sound too. It sounds new, but not too out there. So I'm a big fan of that. So I'm rambling. I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah. So he seems a little bit more. At least what I think their intention is to be a little bit more solid of a character, where he's not. You're not gonna pay as dearly going against Yoshimitsu for not knowing the matchup. So if you get hit by Sword Sweep, if you get hit by that Moonsault Slayer, it's not gonna hurt you as badly as it did before. You just have to kind of just worry about some of the other things he can do, which I think is a good thing. Some of that stuff, you know, people might argue it was cheap, and especially for those that, you know, don't have the time to lab or just don't encounter Yoshimitsu, it kind of is cheap, right? You don't really know all these things that are coming at you and how to deal with them specifically, and it takes a long time to really grasp that. But at the same time, it definitely makes the reward less for Yoshimitsu as well. I know something particularly fun was, you know, just finding out what different strings and setups as a Yoshimitsu player you can flash, and the reward for doing all that work of finding out when to use flash and when to use those things is a little bit diminished now. So I am a little sore about that, but in terms of the health of the character, the way the character can play, I am pretty satisfied. Again, I don't want him to suck, so we'll see how he actually plays when all these things get put together. I kind of see it going both ways. He could be pretty weak in this state, but I also think that this philosophy of how he's a little bit more evened out in terms of his tool set makes him a little bit better or easier to balance. He's going to be a little bit more, I don't want to say straightforward. He's still very tricky with his stances, and he has more transitions than he has than ever. But the stuff that kind of hits you out of nowhere and you don't know how to deal with it, that stuff is a little bit muted in exchange for, I'll say, a little bit better neutral tools. So, alright, so that's it for this, and yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see, let's see if we can get our hands on this game. I can't wait. Good night.